7-minute life, and we will try to do all that. All right, so I am going to get started. You should be able to see my screen now. And tonight's topic is how to improve your time management. It's a step-by-step training with me. And you can see what Photoshop does for you. So there's my image. I love life, and I think that there has to be a time that you can laugh and celebrate, and I hope you see that in my face. One of the problems that we have and why people come to our website is that their time management skills have been lacking for a long time, and they feel this overwhelming sense of distress, of not having enough time, of having too much to do, feeling the anxiety of procrastination. And they come to the 7-minute life not because they just want to improve their time management, but because their lack of time management skills are impacting how they live their life, how they feel when they wake up in the morning, and how they feel if they're living into their priorities and purpose. So I'm so glad you joined us for our class tonight. The topic is how to improve your time management. I'm going to start this class by just sharing that I am an author. Many of you may not know me. I started studying time management in, I guess, 2004, 2005. I'll go ahead and give the full disclaimer. I actually am formally diagnosed with attention deficit disorder. A lot of the people that subscribe to the 7-minute life are just like me. We're really creative. We struggle with disorganization and chaos, but we have great ideas. So in 2004, I started studying about time management because I was the person that wanted to get rid of the chaos and try to make a better life that had more order and more simplicity to it. And during that process, I've created the 7-minute life daily planner, which is part of what you'll learn today. And I had the opportunity to write the 7-minute solution, which John Arnold, who's helping us on this webinar, also was a part of. I'm excited to say the 7-minute solution was the #1 best-selling book in Taiwan. And last fall, I had an opportunity to go to Taiwan and meet a lot of people, and that was awesome. So what are we going to learn today? By the end of this class, I'm going to share with you a definition of time management that I think will be different than what you think. I'm going to tell you why 7 minutes and what that means. I think most of you are signing up for this class because you want to get rid of your to-do list. And the only way to do that is to create a daily written plan of action. I'm teaching a coaching series right now, a mastermind group for just a few people. And I send out this questionnaire before I start those classes. And I say, what do you need to learn? And almost all of them, out of 75 or 80 things, say, I need repeatable processes and systems. My life is chaos. I have too much to do. I just need a way to slow down, to get things done, and to have some kind of process that I can use over and over again to increase my daily productivity. Jim Rohn, if you look down there, in his book, The Art of Exceptional Living, he said this. He said, there's a formula for failure. It's a few errors in judgment repeated every day. Let me just say that one more time. There's an absolute formula for failure. It's just a few errors in judgment repeated every day. So I look at that, and when I read it, I thought, yeah, I understand that there's several areas in my own life that were just judgment calls. Was I going to bed on time? Was I drinking enough water? Was I eating healthy food? There were things in my life as a business person, as a mom, as a daughter, there were just some things in life that I was doing that weren't for the best. But Jim Rohn goes on and he says, but here's the formula for success. It's a few simple disciplines repeated every day, a few simple disciplines. Now, when I teach in a way that, let's see, why isn't that coming on? Hang on one second, it's live TV. I teach in a way that I think people can learn, and I teach by writing. I'm a writer. So as we go through this, I'm going to highlight the pieces that are most important. And this is a piece that I think you need to remember. If you want to succeed in life, there are just a very few and simple things that you need to do. That's why the 7-minute life is so simple. There are only a few things you have to do to change your life, but they have to become disciplines. They have to become part of your life. Until they become behaviors, they're nothing but ideas. So that's what you have to do. It's a few simple disciplines repeated every day. And the key is to take action. When you begin to change your actions, everything about how you work will change. Now, I'm a big Googler, and as I teach these classes, I love to ask, how many times have you searched the internet for time management solutions? So I know John's running the chat, but if you will chat in there, again, if you're new, hover your mouse over the images and you'll see chat. How many times, even this week, have you been searching the internet for answers to time management solutions? How many times have you looked for, how can I get my act together? How can I stop procrastinating? Why can't I get it done? Those are the kind of things that I hope will bring you to the 7-minute life. So I want to start today by defining time management. This is my definition. I think time management typically is thought of as getting more done, but this is what I define time management, or how I define time management. In my mind, time management is a process of planning. It's a process of planning the length of time you will consciously and deliberately focus your attention, starting and completely finishing one specific activity. Now, let's walk through that a little slower. What is time management? We will start and finish with the fact that improving your time management is a process. There has to be some kind of repeatable way for you to create a process that you can use over and over and over again. It's a repeatable process of planning. Now, I have to say, if I had to rename this book, I wouldn't call it the 7-Minute Life Daily Planner. It's like having my boss come to me and say, hey, we're going to spend 2 days locked in a closet creating some kind of annual business plan. The word planning just somehow implies the fact that it's going to be painful and hard and awful. But when you have a process of planning and you're planning things that are inspiring to you, that you're looking forward to, where you can actually accomplish the to-dos on your list, that kind of planning is exciting. This is where people's time management falls short. Very few people know exactly how long it's going to take for them to complete a task. I was working on an article that I was writing, and typically an article takes me around 4 hours. This article took me 12 hours. How many times have you had a project that you thought, oh, it's going to only take me 4 hours, and it ended up taking 2 days? It happens all the time. We somehow underestimate how long something's going to take to do. The other thing is we take on too many things. We've got to begin to narrow down what we're going to do and make choices for which tasks we're going to do. We can't do it all. We have too many things on our to-do list. And this is where we have to really pay attention. There comes a point that you have to deliberately focus your attention, which means turn off the television, stop trying to do everything that's on your desk, and focus on one thing at a time. And you can only focus on one task. If you try to do 3 things at once, like if you're watching this webinar and looking at your email and talking to someone else, it's going to be hard to really absorb that information. But this number 7 is how we're completely different. You can create a repeatable process. You can plan. You can know how long it's going to take you. You can choose the right task. You can get rid of the distractions, and you can work on one thing. But you have to finish it. Time management is not about how efficient you are. Football season's about to start, and I love going to football games. And I will see teams, offensive teams, catch a football in their own end zone and run that ball 99 yards. And they'll be sitting on the 1-yard line of their opponent, 36 inches away from scoring a touchdown. They're literally this far away, and they can't move that last yard. I'm like, dude, just lean over and you'll be in the end zone. But they get stuck on that 1-yard line. Why is that? Why is it that we can't do that last thing? Look around your desk in your home. How many things are in your life that aren't yet completely finished? How many things? How many things are not completely finished? Every one of the things that are almost done becomes a problem for you, and they take up all of your mental energy and everything you do. That's our definition of time management, the key being that you can't stay on the 1 yard line. Now, if you're new to the 7-minute life, we're really glad you're here. And people say, well, hey, Allyson, what's all this 7-minute thing about? And it originally started because the research that I've done says that the average adult at that time in 2006 had an attention span of just 7 minutes. And I thought, well, that's stretching it for me. I think I have an attention span of a gnat, which might be 1 or 2 seconds. But now I'm realizing that all that we do in life, and in fact, how we experience life, how we live in life, is in a framework. It's in a framework of the 24 hours that we have every day. This is it. 24 hours a day, 1 day at a time. So I was thinking to myself, okay, there are 24 hours. Well, that breaks down to 1,440 minutes. And of course, what I'm going to encourage you to do today is to create a repeatable process. You remember step 1 was to create a process of planning. So step 2 is to plan. You need a process of planning. So how do you do these first 2 steps? You recognize that you have a limited amount of time, and it actually happens or occurs not in minutes, but in seconds, in milliseconds. In milliseconds, your life passes by. And when you woke up this morning, did you actually have some kind of plan of what you wanted to accomplish today? Did you have a to-do list? What did you wake up and have? What did you know you wanted to do? What would happen if you knew there were 24 hours in a day, 1,440 minutes, and you chose to make a commitment, a real commitment? You remember we were talking about Jim Rohn saying you needed simple disciplines? What if you made a commitment to take 1% of your time, 1% of your time to plan, to step out of the noise, to be conscious? What if you could take 7 minutes in the evening and a simple 7 minutes in the morning to plan? How different would your life be if instead of taking an envelope or a Post-it note and writing down random things, what would your life look like if you said, the next 24 hours are going to be my reality? I don't want to wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and go to bed at midnight and have nothing in my life happen. I don't want to fasten my seatbelt on the way to the office with some kind of mental to-do list. How many times does this happen? You hop in your car, you fasten your seatbelt, you've got an envelope with things written down on it, and you walk in the office, and before you even sit down, there's some kind of crazy fire drill. And all of a sudden your mind is racing, you're distracted, and you look up and it's 5 or 6 o'clock at night. You walk back to the parking lot, you fasten your seatbelt, and you've gotten nothing done. Nothing. What if you had a plan? So I think time management does not require more efficiency. It requires taking action. So let me walk into that. A lot of people look at time management and goal setting is waking up in the morning. Here I am. It's 6 a.m. It's 6 a.m. Here's where I am. I'm at point A. And at the end of the day, I want to get over here at point B. And I want to do that before I go to bed. And let's be real, I want to do it before midnight, whatever that time of day is for you. Now, most people think of this on an annual basis. So a lot of people think this is January 1st and this is December 31st. That's how they look at life, moving from where they are today to where they want to be. I look at it a different way. I don't think life happens in years. I want to at least start you out with thinking that life happens in the next 24 hours. So if you woke up this morning at 6 and you're going to go to bed at 12, there's what I call a gap. There's a gap between where you are today, this morning, and where you want to be. There's a gap. Most of us start here we look out to the future and we have no idea of how we're going to move from here to here because we don't have a process and we don't have a plan of action. It's not really moving from A to B. It never has really been moving from A to B, whether a year or whether in the day. What would happen if this were 6 o'clock in the morning, point A, and you looked out and you said, here's what I want to accomplish by midnight or whatever time you go to bed. And rather than just having some kind of mental to-do list, you had an agenda that says, today I want to move from point A to point B. I want to take just a tiny step forward. And I want to move from point B to point C and C to D and maybe D to E. How different would it be rather than trying to do everything in one day if you maybe selected 5 tiny things you could do? Tiny things you could start and completely finish. What would it be like if instead of having a to-do list where you fastened your seatbelt, blinked your eyes, and left with getting nothing done, if you had broken your things down into tiny steps and you could mark them off one at a time? That would be time management. And we talk about that by telling people they need a written daily plan of action. Let's compare that. It's time to get rid of the to-do list. This is where the promises come in. A to-do list is not a written daily plan of action. It's not an action plan. It's a to-do list. There's no commitment. There's no planning. And when I look at this, this would be something that I would have written down. It would say something like this. Allyson, you need to pick up your dry cleaning. Don't forget. Start the 2017 marketing budget. Oh, and you have a staff meeting at 11 a.m. Don't forget that. And oh my gosh, it's driving you crazy, Allyson. Clean out your emails. Don't forget to look for the receipts. Call John. Pick up the milk. Overnight that package. Review the expense report and draft the proposal for your next RFP when somebody's sending me a request for proposal to speak at their conference. That's a to-do list that I think almost anybody could walk into the office in. Now, this is why you've signed up. I'm about to share with you why people come to us at the 7-Minute Life. When you look at your to-do list, this to-do list, the question that I want to ask you is the thing that's written on your to-do list, is it an action, something you can do, or is it a project, something you really need to plan for? Is it an action that you can do, or is it a project that you need to break down into smaller pieces? Because remember, if you're going to go past the 1-yard line, you have to do it. You have to do that last thing. It has to be something you can take action on. So here's a to-do list. This is that same to-do list. How familiar does that look? If you came in with a list that looks like this, how many things on this list can you actually do? So let me explain that. A project is not something you can do. A project actually takes more than 20 minutes. And I want to say why 20 minutes, because research really does show that the average adult can pay attention somewhere between 2 seconds and 20 minutes. Therefore, if we want to start and completely finish something, it has to be within what we call that attentional bandwidth. If you're working on something, you want to make that task shorter than 20 minutes. If it's longer than 20 minutes, it is not something you can do. It's actually a project. An action, we call a micro action. That's a task you can start and completely finish within 20 minutes. So there's a big difference. A project, more than 20 minutes. A micro action is something you can do, and it takes less than 20 minutes. So let me go back to this to-do list that I created, and let's look and see how many of these things are actions and how many of these things are projects. How many can I actually do, and how many of these really need to be broken down into smaller units? Can I pick up the dry cleaning? And most people say, yeah, that'll only take me 5 minutes. Well, the answer is no. Whoop, why isn't that coming up? Oh, I've got the wrong one up. Y'all, this is live TV. Hang on just a second. I'm going to switch to the correct PowerPoint. You got to love this. That's the handout. Yes, I'll be sending all of those to you. All right, so you got to love this. It'll be on the recording. It'll be on everything. I'm going to have to stop sharing my screen for 1 second. Okay, now you're seeing the face of a person that is going, awesome. All right, so now we're back into the class. I'm going to go back to that place. All right. Pam, there's no laughing at my producer over here is laughing at me. Okay, now we're back in the right spot. I can start the slideshow. Well, I say I can. Well, all right, one more time. Y'all really, you don't have to feel sorry for me. It's going to be okay. Play from the start. Let me get rid of these. All right. So obviously one of my to-dos should have been make sure that the correct slideshow is up there, but I do want you to have the handouts. All right, so now we should be back in action. All right, we're going to speed through this and want to make sure that we're there. All right, so we were back where it says a micro action takes less than 20 minutes. And I look at this and I say, can I pick up the dry cleaning in less than 20 minutes? The answer is no, of course not. If you're going to pick up the dry cleaning, you have to hop in your car, you have to drive to the dry cleaners, you have to go in, pick it up, pay for it, hop in your car and go back. We underestimate how long that's going to take. You think it's going to take 10 minutes, but it actually takes about 40 minutes. This is my to-do list. Can I start the marketing budget? Not really. That's going to probably take 3 weeks. And even starting the marketing budget means that I need to pull files. I need to have meetings with whoever created the marketing budget. I need to look at our projected forecast for the next year. Can I have the staff meeting at 11 a.m. in 20 minutes? No. It's going to run an hour, and if there's not an agenda, it's probably going to run an hour and a half. And this one just makes me laugh. Can I clean out my email? No, I just need to even quit trying. Can I look for the receipts? Yes. Can I call John? Yes. Can I pick up the milk? Again, we think it's just, honey, it'll only take me a minute. But it doesn't take you a minute. Even to run in a convenience store, driving there, parking, walking in. Can I overnight the package? Yep. Can I review the expense report? Yes, but obviously I can't draft a request for proposal for a speaking engagement. Here's the problem. This was my to-do list, and I'm guessing it looks a lot like your to-do list. There were 10 things that I wanted to do that day. But out of those things that I wanted to do, only 4 could I actually do. I could look for the receipts. I could call John. I could overnight a package, and I could review the expense report. All of those things I could do within 20 minutes. But the other 6, I couldn't do within 20 minutes. There were projects. I couldn't even get started. And so what happens is when you're looking at this list and you get to this one that says start the marketing budget, it's such an enormous project, not something you can do, that it simply rolls over on your calendar from day to day to day to day, and it never gets done because it's an enormous project. And even though it's on your to-do list, you don't really know what to do. And so if it's a project, it's more than 20 minutes. If it's a micro action, it's less than 20 minutes. And so what we want to do is help you take a to-do list and turn it into things you can actually do. Remember, your day is not, hey, I'm at point A, I'm going to start the marketing budget, and at the end of the day, I'm going to have a marketing budget completed. That's not how it works. That's how we wish efficiency would work. What really happens is that you need those repeatable processes. You need a method, a way, some kind of tool that you can repeat over and over and over again to take you in the 24 hours that you have from where you are in the morning to where you want to be, so that you don't hop in the car, have a fire drill, come in with some kind of list that you want to accomplish, hop back in your car at, let's say, 5 or 6 or 7 at night, and haven't gotten nothing done. It's likely because you have too many projects on your to-do list rather than things you can do. A to-do is a tiny little thing. You might be able to do 2 or 3, but you can start and completely finish them. And what happens is that time, every bit of time is always moving forward, every bit of time. And so if you don't get something done today, it just means even though now it's tomorrow, you still got to go back and pick up these things. And then the next day comes and you still haven't done them, so you got to go back and pick up these things. The next day comes, you still haven't done them, so you got to go back and pick up these things. Unfortunately, all during that time that you haven't been doing the things that you should have done, new and more things are coming on. So all of a sudden you now live in a chaos where you just feel like you can't get out. So how do you get rid of the to-do list? I'm not here to say, oh, just get rid of it. I believe what makes us different is that we try to give you tools, not just ideas. We don't tell you what you need to do. You know, I've read a lot of books that say, oh, here's how you can get 3 extra hours a day, or here's how you can work smarter and not harder. And I'm like, dude, great, you can tell me that, but at least give me the tools to do that. So here's the tool. This is brand new. It'll be emailed to you. It's not yet on our website, so you're one of the first people getting to see this. There is a much needed, we've needed even at the 7-Minute Life, it's a tool that is very much needed, that is project management rather than a to-do list. You'll find that to-do lists are fairly inefficient, but because you can't do the things that are on them. You can't do it. So what if you just recognize that most of the things you needed to accomplish were projects, not tiny actions? Let me walk you through that. You've got to be able to do your to-do list. So here's the new piece, the project management worksheet that I created. I've said that there are 24 hours, let me go back. I've said that there are 24 hours in the day. And this is our whole thing. That's 1,440 minutes. I'm going to encourage you to take 1% of your time, which is 14 minutes, to plan, to create projects, not to create a to-do list, but actually to create a plan. We're going to ask you to take 7 minutes in the evening and 7 minutes in the morning. So what would you want to think about? What you would do is you would come in the office and you would take this home with you. And the night before, as you're sitting down, you would sit down at the evening and you would actually create a to-do list. You would write down, okay, here's the first thing I need to do, the second thing I need to do, the third, and you'd begin to write them down. And it looks something like this. So I'm brainstorming, and I'll just use myself as an example. Tomorrow, I have a lunch to, whoop, good gracious. Well, I'll go ahead and use that page. Now, can you tell that I am ADD? You know, okay, so now you're really getting a sense that my brain works at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm going to use my own day tomorrow. What do I have to do tomorrow? Tomorrow, I have a luncheon, having lunch with friends at 12:30. Okay, and that might look a lot like what you're doing. Tomorrow night, there's an Arkansas State University football game that starts at 8 o'clock. I don't know who planned that out. There's also a dinner that I'm having with a friend prior to the game. So these are all just personal things. Well, what about my work? What do I need to get done at work? And so I would sit down again. I'm taking 7 minutes in the evening. And I would think, okay, one of the things that I have to do is I need to work on our About Us page. I need to be more clear about what the 7-Minute Life does. What is it? Well, we're a time management company. We are all these things. So I need to work on the About Us page. We are opening a brand new store, new technology. And so I need to make sure all the prices are correct, because right now they're not. If you try to buy something that really is priced for $24, they've got it priced for like $25, $35. So we've got to get all of those things fixed. The other thing that I need to do is I'm writing a series that I want to put on Facebook, and I want to make sure that I write a thank you note for a friend of mine that did something really nice for me. So this would look something like my to-do list. Now, the question is this a project or something I can do? Have lunch with friends at 12:30. Is that going to take less than 20 minutes? The answer is no. This is, even though it's something personal, it's actually a project. The football game, is it something I can do? No, it's not anything but a project. Although I absolutely, let's see if I can draw a heart with this. I love football. Dinner with a friend? Nope, it's a project. Writing about us page? No, that's a project. Creating the store? Nope, that's a project. Facebook? Nope, that's a project. Can I write the thank you note? Yes. Finally, I have one action. I wish that we were live and had a chance for you to do this, to write down really what you need to do tomorrow. You might be thinking of these things. So this is what I would do in the evening, is I would take out this project management worksheet. This is a brand new tool. And I would write down the things that I needed to do tomorrow or had on my calendar to do. And in the 7 minutes, I would think to myself, is this something I can do in 20 minutes? Can I actually get this done? Because in the past, I've had a to-do list, but almost everything on my to-do list couldn't be done. It was actually a project. After you've written it down, you've taken the 7 minutes, you've written these things down, the next step is to really choose, is it a project or is it an action? Because if it's a project, it's going to have to be broken down. After you've decided if it's a project or an action, you then have to prioritize them. So step 1 is write them down. Step 2 is decide if you can do it within 20 minutes or if it's going to take longer. Step 3 is you have to prioritize them. What are you going to do first? All right, so the number one thing that I have to start working on is this store thing, because I want to open the store. We're going to be having a Labor Day sale. I'm pretty excited about that, Labor Day. And so obviously I need the store to have the right prices. That would not be good if that. So that's the number one thing that I'm going to be working on. But that's probably going to take 2 hours of my time. That is not going to be a short thing. Okay, so let's talk about the store. If that's the number one thing I want to do, I'm going to go to the right side of this project management worksheet, and I'm going to say, okay, sorry, I keep forgetting to hit the, let me write on the slide button. So if this is the project, off the to-do list, I've said I want to work on the store. And so over here, I'm going to put work on the store. I've got to do 2 things, actually. I've got to fix the prices, which I'm sure our buyers would like. And I also have to fix the shipping. There's a little hiccup in the shipping that we have going on. So those are the 2 things that I have to do. Well, I can't do that. It's going to take probably 2 hours, not 20 minutes. So what would happen in the morning if I came to the office and I'd looked at my to-do list? So I'm going to come back over here. I'm just going to show you what this means. What if I had already taken 7 minutes, just like I had done earlier, to write down all the things that I'd done? That's in the evening. I'd written them down. I've said if they're a project or something that I can actually do, and I had prioritized them. So I wrote them down. This is all happening at the evening. I wrote them down. I decided if they're a project or an action, and then I prioritized them. That's what you do on this worksheet, prioritize. So then in the morning, I would again take 7 minutes, and I would begin to think to myself, okay, what was the number one thing that I needed to do? The number one thing I needed to do was work on the store. I had to fix the pricing to make sure the pricing was correct, and I had to fix the shipping. So in the morning, I'm creating the most important project, and since it's going to take more than 20 minutes, I want to break it down. I'm quietly out of the noise. I've stepped out of the fire drill. It's trying to be when I first get in the office. I've got this piece of paper in front of me, and I just start thinking. For me, that means that I typically turn off my mail. The email that I have just bings in all the time. And even as I'm trying to plan, what would happen is I'd be sitting down to plan this project, which is really important, and a junk email would come on saying, hey, you've won a trip to the Bahamas. And all of a sudden now I'm looking at my, excuse me, I'm looking at my email, and then I'll look up, it's 5 o'clock, and I haven't even done anything about the store. So an interruption sends you down a rabbit hole. Excuse me. So rather than do that, I make some conscious choices to turn off the email and to ignore any phone calls that come in or text messages. I don't even pick up my phone. And I do believe that's what's different, is that I think about things. If you pay attention or sign up for any of our other classes about goal setting, about being deliberate and intentional, to actually step down and think about what you want to do and who you want to become, those are the kind of things that we teach. The other thing I think that makes us different is that people come to us not just to get more done, but because they want to understand their priorities and their purpose in life. They don't want to just be busy. They want the things that they do in life to matter. And so here I am. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and do this live because I haven't planned my 7 minutes for the morning. Tomorrow I want to come in and work on the store. What does that mean? First thing it means is that I have to understand or read the instructions of where I actually go to change the pricing. So I have to go on the internet and I have to read an article or watch a YouTube video. How long will that take? Well, that'll probably take 10 minutes. It's an action. It's something I can start and finish and mark off my list. After that, I have to find out which prices are not correct. What prices are not right? That'll take about 2 minutes. And then I have to look at what the actual prices are and put the correct prices in. That'll probably take close to 20 minutes. And then I have to test the prices. So I have to run some test orders, and that also will probably take about 20 minutes. And then I have to call our fulfillment center, the people that send out the pieces, and I have to talk to their technical person, and that'll probably end up taking about 45 minutes. So I would break that in and just calling them and seeing if I could get a hold of them, and then actually having the conversation. And I have to know that I'm going to do that last for a couple of reasons. One, I may not reach him, and two, that's going to take much more time. But even knowing this, that this is the number one thing that I want to work on, that I have to first watch a video, find out which prices are wrong, look at the products and find out the right price and correct them, test all of the products, call the fulfillment center, and then have that conversation. If I just got this one thing done, it would be a valuable day. I would have started in my own end zone. I would have had nothing going on. I would have started here. I would have run 99 yards, and like most people, we get stopped on that last little task. I don't want people to get stuck on the 99-yard line. How many things do you have in your life? The 99-yard line would be for me to do all this stuff but not test it, and then have clients come and buy things from us and have it not work. That's why we're changing our stores. We've had that happen. Can you see how this would be helpful? So why 7 minutes? Let me go through that one more time. There are 24 hours in a day. That means there are 1,440 minutes. Most of us wake up in the morning. That's me. We drive to work. We get to work. We don't have a plan of action. There's this craziness that happens. We go back home and we've gotten nothing done. What that causes and why that is so important is that all that causes stress, distraction, and if you're taking notes, I think you know how real this is, anxiety. And the end result is it causes pain. And I'm going to go another step further and say it even causes depression. There are just so many days that we walk in and walk out with getting nothing done, and we begin to lose our self-esteem, our own identity. And when we're not getting things done at work, we typically take it home, and we try to work at home, which means we're not spending as much time with our family, with our friends. These things that we teach are really important. Time management is important. And if it's important, and I've started writing on these slides, and I'm writing on a called a Wacom, so it's a little harder. But if something's important to you, my question is, are you willing to invest 7 minutes? And that almost takes my breath away. If these are problems that you have in your life, stress, distraction, anxiety, pain, and I'm trying to become a real advocate for mental health. And so I'm sharing that I personally suffer with depression, and it's a battle I'll probably have all my life. But, and I'm just going to go ahead and lay it on the table, I think that people like me that have attention deficit disorder or who have gotten behind in their work can seek therapy and can go to someone and try to work things out. But depression and all those anxieties and stress are not going to go away until we do something. What we have to do is we begin to have to make choices of how we're going to behave. If we want our life to be different, we have to change our behavior. So let me clean that up. Why did you sign up for this class? You signed up for this class because there are 24 hours in the day. You get nothing done, and you go home literally and feel bad. That's why people sign up for time management companies. We want to make it simple. We want you to understand that you do have this 24 hours, which just calculates into this. What if you made a decision to change your behavior? To choose to take 1% of your time to have a process and to create a written plan of action. To do more than just have a to-do list that you can't do, and create an actual project management just using a one simple piece of paper, and to be able to do that 7 minutes in the evening and 7 minutes in the morning. Those are tools that can change your behavior. We're not just telling you, oh, here's a great idea. We're going to say, hey, here's the worksheet. This is not what you do, this is how you do it, and here's the tool to do it. You know, I look at this and I say, wow, how easy would it be to create a to-do list? Find out what's a project, find out what's an action, decide what's most important. What's most important, if it's a project, put it here. Taking 7 minutes, just 7 minutes, and sometimes it doesn't even take 7 minutes, but taking 7 minutes to step out of the noise and out of the chaos and to make a conscious choice of using behaviors that you know you've needed to do anyway. You've got to plan. What would happen if you just took 7 minutes, put your most important project here for tomorrow? Begin to break down the actions that you needed to take. Writing down how long they'll take. This one will take 10 minutes, this one will take 5 minutes, oh, this one will take, this one takes 40 minutes. It's not an action, it's actually a project. What do I need to break it down into? How different would your life be if you knew what you wanted to do? You could come in and say, here's the project, and you could literally take the actions, and you could do what you said you would do. And what that means is that you get to a point where you get to enough. You get to a point where you're finished. That's what I want. I want to get to a point where it's finished. We got about 15 minutes left, and I'm going to give you some very strategic things. I'm going to actually give you the secret sauce, the way that this all comes together for you. And that secret sauce is why people come to us. And if you don't know what the secret sauce is, the secret sauce is something that changes lives. And it begins with something that I call the piano string theory. I'm a nerd. I hope you'll sign up for our next class on the brain science of being a nerd, of how you can change your behaviors through changing your brain. But one of the things that I learned is the piano string theory. And what this means is that imagine that there's a warehouse that's ginormous. It's like hundreds of yards big and wide. And you put a baby grand piano in one corner of the warehouse, and the whole thing's empty, but there's another piano on the far end of the warehouse. And they're hundreds of yards away. If you were to walk into that warehouse and hit middle C on one of the pianos, the middle C string on the other piano would begin to vibrate. And the strings near middle C would begin to vibrate. What happens is that sound waves begin to resonate. And what resonates on one end of your life begins to resonate on the other. My question is, what's resonating in your life? Do you feel that energy of, hey, I've gotten this done. I understand it. I finally get it. I can't use a to-do list. I need some kind of process and plan. And when I walk in the morning and I have a plan, if I have some kind of piece of paper that I can do these things with, and it becomes a process or a behavior that resonates with me. I have attention deficit disorder. I struggle with distraction. But if I can create a plan and do it day after day after day, that plan begins to resonate with me. And it shows me that even with distraction and chaos and disorganization, I have the potential to get things done. I have the potential, kind of like we were saying, to move from point A to point B. There's a gap. I have the potential to do things. And this is one of my favorite words at the 7-Minute Life. Potential means you just can't do it yet. Yeah, I have a to-do list I've never been able to complete. Well, the 7-Minute Life would say, yes, but you just haven't been able to do it yet. Or you might say to me, I have terrible time management skills. Well, you just haven't been able to improve them yet. I live with anxiety and stress and depression. Well, I think that there's an opportunity to do it. You just can't get better yet. So how do you do that? Yet is one of my favorite words. I think you remember the project management worksheet. That's a brand new piece, a new part of the 7-Minute Life. But this is where everything started. It was more than a decade ago. I served as a financial advisor. I think some of you may know that. So here I was, a financial advisor. I dealt with, hundreds of people and lots of activity. And what I realized is that my day was in chaos. The biggest problem is that I had no idea. Let me just go ahead and say that. I had no idea of what I wanted to do. I walked in the office, no clue. I had no clue of what I wanted to do. And so if nothing was important, then at that point, everything becomes important. So I didn't know if I should do this or this or this or this or this. And end results is I felt trapped. I was stuck. Bottom line, I got nothing done. I never got anything done. What would happen if you, again, took that 7 minutes in the evening and you asked yourself the simple question, what is my goal for tomorrow? What is my goal for tomorrow? Did you ask yourself that this morning? Did you say to yourself, or last night, did you say to yourself, what's my goal for tomorrow? For me, I had a class this morning and a class tonight, and I was preparing for those. And these are some of my favorite days because I knew what I was going to do. And I knew that when I finished them, I was done. Now, these were projects, but at the end of this webinar, I'm going to be done. And I love doing this. Imagine what that's like to end your day saying, hey, I'm done. I'm in the end zone. I didn't land on the 99-yard line. Well, how does all that take place? All of that takes place back to the same old thing. You have a tool. You have a tool that we call the Daily Progress Report that you can repeat over and over again that becomes a process for you. And after you've used the process long enough, that becomes a behavior. And it's only when we change our behaviors that our time management improves or that anything else improves. The same thing's true for exercise, for eating healthy. Everything has to have a repeatable process. The number one thing people look to us for is what's called the 5 before 11 list. What is 5 before 11? It goes right back to that project sheet. If you know what your project is, you know what's going to take more than 20 minutes, we want you to create a list of 5, what we call high value actions. High value actions that you can start. This is where it gets exciting. Start and completely finish before 11 o'clock. Now, okay, everybody start laughing. I get a lot of questions. Is that 11 a.m. or 11 p.m.? Well, it's supposed to be 11 a.m., but it doesn't really matter. If you could write down 5 things that you would commit, they were important, They were priorities, and you could commit to just accomplishing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 things, or just 1 or 2. If you had a plan, you walked in with a goal, you had 5 micro actions or however many things that you could start and finish within 20 minutes. If you accomplish 5 actions a day, how would you feel? If you had the power of the check mark 5 times, can you imagine what it would be like? Just 5. But what if you did that for a week? What if you accomplished 5 things for 7 days? You would accomplish 35 actions, 35 tasks. And the 7-Minute Life is built on a 90-day platform, partly because of quarterly earnings and partly because of nature. Nature cycles every 90 days. So what if you accomplish 5 activities over a 90-day period? You can see the power of this. You would accomplish 450 things. You would have marked them off your list. The human brain is like this. It only has so much capacity. You literally have boundaries. And all of these unfinished tasks that are sitting on your, every file folder, every phone call that you need to make, if this is your brain, everything that's not done in your life is taking up space, energy, and everything about you, and it's leaving just this little bit of cognitive awareness to accomplish things. How much would it mean to you if you had tiny little steps that you could do in no longer than 20 minutes, and over a week you could accomplish 35 of them? But if you made a commitment to change your behavior and you did it for just 90 days, can you imagine what it would look like to accomplish 450 things? I'm going to go up here, but can you imagine how much more free space in your brain you'd have to process ideas and be creative and spend time in a present moment with your family? That's what the Daily Progress Report is. This is not a to-do list. It's an actual tool that helps you have more room in your brain so that you can actually live a life that matters. We've got 5 minutes left. The Daily Progress Report also helps you stay connected with your friends. It also helps you remember anything that's unfinished in your life. You don't have to keep it in your head. You can write down, oh, I need to do this. Don't let me forget. This tool also is more, it's way more than just some kind of to-do list. At the bottom of every page, you'll see what we call psychological triggers. And this may be as important or more important for people. The human brain works on 2 things, glucose and water. How many glasses of water did you drink? How many hours of sleep did you get? Did you exercise, yes or no? Did you pray or reflect? Well, yeah, I did for 10 minutes. Did you read a book? What did you eat? But the most important question on this is at the end of the day, when you walked in with some kind of list that you had to do with all these things, did you get any of it done? And the last question on the progress report is, did I do what I said I would do today? And it's either a yes or no question. And we walk out the office and we say, no, not only did I not get what I said I would do today, I didn't get anything done. Spell it correctly. I didn't get anything done. Imagine the emotional cost of that. The key that we want to have people do is take 1% of their time, 7 minutes, to create their 5 before 11 list, and then just do them. Now, I'm holding up the planner that I use. You can see it there in an image. It's just a book. But why do you need some kind of tool? The first thing that people need, and we've said this from the beginning, is you need some kind of process. You've got to have somewhere to create a process. You need a structure. We've talked about the importance of having a written plan of action, of being able to check off 5 things a day, to have stepped out of the noise so that you know what you need to focus on. And the beauty of what we do, and this is what people talk about at the companies that I speak to, is that they go in and say, man, really? I only have to do 5 high-value things a day? Yep, if you did it for a week, you'd accomplish 35. And if you did it for 90 days, you'd accomplish 450 things. But multiply that by a team of 10. Imagine if your team did this together, the same thing, for 90 days, your team could accomplish 450. It's just crazy. But more important than that even is you need one capture tool. Now, this is my actual planner that I'm using right now. And you can see that everything I have is actually in this planner. In fact, I take things and I tape them in even if they're not there. I can go back. I think you can actually see it. I can go back and open this up. Can you see these? I think you can. Mm-hmm. I have, I don't know, 10 years worth of planners here. Maybe not that many, 8. If there's something I want to know that happened in 1998, I can just go back there, pull the planner I had from 1998, and I can tell you exactly what I did on November 7th. Because it's a capture tool. I don't have to guess where things are. I don't put anything anywhere else except in this planner. So I have one safe location. And the biggest thing is that I have one single sheet of paper to plan my day. So this is our #1 time management planning tool. Today is important. And I want to share with you that this does more than what I just said. This has a lot of other things in it. One of the things that people like most, as we've talked about, you don't just want to get things done. You also want to know what your priorities are. So you'll be able to set your priorities and stick with them. You'll learn how to avoid interruptions and distractions. I think this is why people sign up. They want to master the chaos of endless unfinished tasks. The reason you have so many unfinished tasks is that you can't do them. Remember, they just pile up and they get bigger and bigger. We want to help people declutter their mind and their life. I want to share ideas to beat procrastination and to get rid of the stress and anxiety. I understand the pain of that. I don't want to be overwhelmed. I want to have time for the people and things that I love. And I want to live in accordance with my true purpose. That's all part of this book. It's just one single capture tool. And so I've given all this information away, but I do want you to know we're having a Labor Day sale. It starts tomorrow. And we're going to have pieces that are on sale. Everything on our store is going to be on sale, but the maximum that you can save starting tomorrow is 40%. But we had almost 200 people, maybe more than 200 people sign up for this, and we just sent it out yesterday. So because you've signed up, I do want you to try this. I want you to have an opportunity to try what it's like to have one tool, to step out of the noise for 7 minutes and to create a plan and to have a process. And these books are $24.95, which is a pretty good deal for me because I like these books, and so I hope a lot of people buy them. But they're $24.95. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. Maybe. And I'm going to be selling them today because I know it's taken an hour out of your time and we have 1 minute left. I'm going to be offering these for $12.47. And I have to believe that it is worth $12.47 to give